ESPN released a returning production rankings, and I'll go through and look to see exactly how that's measured, because with offensive statistics, with yardage, that can be measured. Otherwise, I don't know where they go with that, with some other positions, but tackles, that sort of thing. But they've got Oklahoma ranked number 71 nationally in returning production rankings. And this is Bill Connolly metric. Returning production, all 131 FBS teams, 64% coming back offensively. The Sooners return just 47% offensively. That ranks 117th. Then with the transfer portal, that I don't think that these rankings are as valid as they once were. When you lose a Caleb Williams and a Spencer Rattler, you lost 100% of your passing yardage.
Sure.
I don't know if there's something to counteract the ranking to say, well, we gained a guy that's thrown 30 touchdowns in Dillon Gabriel. So it's not like there's not a replacement at or near the same caliber of what was lost. OU brings back 82% of its production on the defensive side of the ball, which is 15th in the country.
Yeah, I think to your point, Mark, there's a lot of, on the offensive side of the ball, there's a lot of productivity. I mean, when you lose those two quarterbacks, obviously you're going to lose 100% of your passing, and they've lost a decent amount of their receiving with Jaden Hazelwood and Mario Williams, both being gone. So yeah, you're absolutely right. They're going to have some guys step up on the offensive side of the ball. But I think with the kids that they got, the kids that they've brought in, they put themselves in a good position. You can make an argument, that I don't think you can make the argument that Dillon Gabriel is more talented than Caleb Williams. We all know that Caleb Williams is probably a more talented overall quarterback, athlete, football player than Dillon Gabriel is. But I think the one thing that honestly can't be overstated or undersold, or however you want to put it, is that when you have a kid like that comes in and he already knows the offense really, really well, I think it's very helpful. And Jeff Lebby even talked about that. It's very helpful for a kid that comes in and knows the system, and kind of help some of these other guys in terms of the install, because that's obviously some of the best, some of the biggest stuff that they'll have going on early on here in the spring on the offensive side of the ball is just that install. So with that, the skill positions are the skill position is fine. I think Oklahoma still has a lot of talent at the skill position. I think the running back room is probably, even though they lose their top player, I think the running back room is probably better overall with the talent that they have coming in, and what they have returning. They're really solid at the receiver position. Still have Marvin Mims. Jalil Farouk is a guy that really played well in the bowl game. He'll have a much bigger role in this offense this year. Would not be surprised to see Jaden Gibson as a wide receiver come in and play a lot as a true freshman. Obviously, they've lost a few. Theo Weiss will be back in there in that mix as well. So I think that they've got the talent at the skill position, to be successful. I think a lot of it's going to come down to both the offense and defensive lines and how effective that they can be on those sides of the ball. And I think one thing that will be very, very interesting to see, Mark, in terms of what we've talked about from a skill position perspective. I've haven't seen anything official, but I've heard some rumors here that Billy Bowman might move back to the offensive side of the ball. I think that's where a lot of people thought that he probably would be initially, but they needed a little bit more help. But how they've recruited through the back end, what they've added through the transfer portal, may give Oklahoma a little bit of a room to move him back over to the offensive side of the ball. So I think that's I think that's one of those things that Oklahoma will be. We'll have the skill position players. They always have. They always will. Here at this new age of Oklahoma football. So I think, and then I think that just kind of delves into this question we have on the screen here about Bray Walker. I think one of the things they're going to have some opportunity for some kids to step up on the offensive line, and I think Bray Walker is one of those guys who has been in this program for quite some time. He was a five-star kid. I think he's just been a little bit stiff in his movements and just maybe not quite as athletic as some of those other guys. So it'll be interesting to see how this offensive line kind of shapes out. I think it's not been as good I think most people would agree over the last couple of years as as expected or as it has been previously. And I think from what I believe is a lot of that has to do with what we've continuously came back to here, Mark, is just the strength and conditioning side, not having those guys be as big and as strong and as physical as they've been in the past. So I think, that's again going to be where the rubber meets the road here come 2022. Do they have the strength? Can they build their bodies in such a way that they can be much stronger at the point of attack, both on the offense and defensive lines?